She gave birth to different colour twins, but her husband said, "Only the white one is mine." The delivery room was still buzzing with the energy of new life, beeping monitors, muffled voices, the faint cries of two newborns wrapped in matching blankets. But amidst the soft light and sterile calm, everything was not okay. Lying on the hospital bed, pale and exhausted, Julia Carter, a white woman in her early 30s, held her newborn twins in her arms. One baby, fair-skinned, pink-cheeked, with tufts of light brown hair, nuzzled gently into her chest. The other, darker-skinned, curly-haired, equally healthy, cooed sleepily in her other arm. Two perfect babies, but from two very different stories. Her husband, Ryan, stood frozen at the foot of the bed. One hand covered his mouth, his eyes wide in disbelief. His olive-green shirt clung to his chest as if it too recoiled from the shock. He stepped closer, voice breaking. What is this?" Julia didn't answer. She couldn't. Not yet. Ryan blinked rapidly, looking from one twin to the other, then back to Julia. "The white baby," he said, breath shallow. "She's mine. But the other one, who does he belong to?" The words fell like stones in the room. The nurse nearby stopped walking. The light buzz of the incubator seemed to hush. Julia's lips trembled. Her hands gripped her babies tighter. "Ryan, please." But he shook his head and stepped back as if the walls were closing in. "You were pregnant with twins and you never told me." "I didn't know. Not like this. They're different." Julia's voice cracked. Ryan pointed now, eyes wild. "They're not just fraternal. That baby isn't even mine." Julia's throat burned. She knew this would happen. She'd feared it from the moment the ultrasound tech had hesitated and said, "Twins, but they don't appear identical." From the day her OBGYN explained the rare condition, heteropaternal superfecundation, when two eggs are fertilized by sperm from two separate men during the same ovulation window. She had done the research, asked every question, but none of it prepared her for this moment. 9 months ago, Julia and Ryan had separated briefly after a painful argument. Ryan had moved out for almost 3 weeks. It was supposed to be space, a reset. But in the silence, Julia had fallen into the arms of David, a longtime friend. Black, kind, familiar. He listened, offered warmth. And for one night, she let go of everything else. She had told herself it was a mistake, that nothing would come of it, until she learned she was pregnant. At first, she believed the babies were Ryan's, but late into her second trimester, after a genetic screening showed unusual markers and more frequent ultrasounds, the truth unfolded. Not just fraternal twins, but biologically fathered by 2 different men. An extreme rarity, but medically possible. And now, proof of it lay in her arms. Ryan stepped back, shaking his head. "So, you cheated on me?" Julia's voice cracked. "We were separated. You told me you didn't know if you were coming back. And this is what you did?" She looked down at the babies. They were both beautiful. Both hers. Both loved. But she knew the world, and Ryan might not see it that way. "Ryan," she whispered, "I didn't know I was carrying twins until the second scan. I thought it was your baby." Then the doctor explained. "Explain to me how I'm supposed to believe this isn't just betrayal." His voice wasn't loud, but it was sharp, full of disbelief and something even worse, heartbreak. Julia's fingers curled tightly around the tiny bodies in her arms. "You're the father of one of them," she said, "but I'm the mother of both." Ryan turned away for a moment. He pressed his palms against his temples. The nurse gently stepped back into the hallway, giving them space. But Julia could feel the emotional walls closing in. "What are you going to do?" she finally asked. Ryan didn't answer right away. "Then the white one is mine. I'll raise her, but That boy... I'm sorry, Julia. Her heart cracked. She wanted to scream, to beg, to plead with him not to say what he was about to say. But she didn't have to wait long. Only the white one is mine, Ryan said again, quieter this time. That other baby isn't my responsibility. And with that, he walked out of the room. Julia broke. She didn't sob. Not yet. She just held both children closer, silent tears sliding down her face. Because no matter what came next, she wasn't giving up either child. She had created them. She had carried them. And even if the world turned against her, she would raise them both, with love. 3 days had passed. The nursery was quiet, the hallway colder. Julia sat in the rocking chair beside her hospital window, both twins in her arms, one nursing, the other dozing against her shoulder. She didn't look like a woman who had just brought life into the world. She looked like someone trying to hold herself together in pieces, because deep down she knew this was her fault. Not biology, not medical rarity, not a twist of fate. Her decision had created this storm. The door opened softly. Her sister Emma stepped in, carrying a sealed envelope and a pair of folded papers. "Results are in," she said gently. "Ryan sent them." Julia nodded, her throat dry. She already knew what the paper said. The doctors had explained it. The hospital had run its own internal analysis after delivery. Still, Emma laid the papers on the table beside her. 2 DNA tests? 2 different fathers? Confirmed. Ryan hadn't come back, not since those words, "The white one is mine." Julia couldn't argue, couldn't even blame him anymore. She thought of all the times she might have come clean earlier, when the doctor first brought up the unusual twin development, when she noticed the skin tone difference on the 3D ultrasound, when the doubt started keeping her up at night. But she was afraid he would leave, afraid he would see her differently. Now, he had. Later that evening, a lawyer arrived. Ryan had requested to file for custody of his biological daughter, only. Shared parenting was off the table. His message was clear. He wanted nothing to do with the other child. Julia didn't cry, not until after the lawyer left. She held both babies tighter that night, whispering apologies they were too young to understand. "I broke this. I broke all of it." The hospital cleared her to go home, but she stayed 2 more days. She wasn't ready to face the outside world. Not the curious stares, the whispered questions. 2 different dads. Do you think he'll forgive her? Poor babies. What happens now? She had answers to none of it. All she knew was that she would raise both children, with or without help, with or without forgiveness. 1 week later, she met Ryan in a mediation room. He sat at one end of the table, clean-shaven, eyes tired but distant. He looked at her, then at the documents, then at the photo she'd brought of both babies bundled together in one blanket. He didn't smile. He didn't reach for it. Julia cleared her throat. "I know I ruined everything." Ryan didn't speak. "You were gone, and I should have waited. I should have stayed faithful, but I was hurting, and I reached for comfort in the worst way, and I never wanted to hurt you or them." Her voice cracked. "I understand if you can't love me anymore, but don't let that stop you from loving her. Your daughter deserves that, even if I don't." Ryan looked down, jaw tight. He said only one thing before standing to leave. "Don't contact me unless it's about her." Then he was gone. Julia left the room with a signed parenting agreement. She had full custody of both twins, with scheduled visitation granted for Ryan and his biological daughter. He requested a different surname for her. He wanted the boy's name removed from all his documents. Julia didn't argue. She'd earned his anger. But what the court couldn't decide, what only love could, was how she would raise them both equally, how she would never make one child feel less seen, less wanted, less hers. Years passed. The story faded from gossip. 2 children grew side by side, a boy with dark curls and gentle eyes, and a girl with auburn hair and fierce wit. They never felt divided, because their mother made sure of that. She worked 2 jobs, studied at night, read them the same stories, sang them the same lullabies. And one day, when her son was old enough to ask, "Why don't I look like Dad?" she took a breath and told him the truth. "Because you had a different father, but you both have the same mother, and I will never love one of you more than the other." He nodded. He didn't cry, because in her arms he never had to question if he belonged. In the end, Julia didn't erase her mistake, but she faced it, and though she lost the man she once loved, she earned something else: the right to raise 2 children in truth, and in love that never had conditions. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And let us know in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.